first Asian artist to dominate iTunes 2026. Has Jungkook broken Western pop's stronghold? Is this just another chart update? Or a geopolitical shift in global music power? When Jungkook surged to #1 on both the worldwide and European iTunes song charts in 2026 with Please Don't Change, the headlines seemed celebratory. But beneath the congratulations and purple hearts lies a bigger narrative. Is the gravitational center of global pop finally moving east? On the 26th of February 2026, fan account BTS Charts Daily reported that Please Don't Change, Jungkook's collaboration with French producer DJ Snake, hit a new peak at #1 on 2 major iTunes rankings simultaneously. Worldwide iTunes Song Chart, Hason, New, 21 days charting, peak Hason. European iTunes Song Chart, Hason, New, 13 days charting 18,226 points, peak Hason. The milestone carries historic weight. The track is widely cited as the first song by an Asian artist to top both charts in 2026. And suddenly, this isn't just about one song, it's about dominance. Originally released on the 3rd of November 2023 as part of Jungkook's solo album Golden, Please Don't Change is not a fresh single engineered for a chart debut. It's a track over 2 years old. Yet, in early 2026, it experienced a resurgence powerful enough to dethrone newer Western releases across multiple territories. That detail changes everything. Because historically, Western artists, particularly from the US and UK, have controlled digital storefront ecosystems like iTunes, Europe. Even as streaming reshaped the industry, chart symbolism remains potent. Topping European iTunes as an Asian soloist in 2026 signals something more structural than viral momentum. It signals market normalization. For decades, Asian acts were labeled crossover successes when they charted internationally, framed as exceptions to Western dominance. Now, the language is shifting. Jungkook isn't crossing over. He's competing and winning within the same arena. The geopolitical undertone becomes impossible to ignore. Global pop once flowed primarily outward from Los Angeles, London, and New York, but the 2020s saw Seoul emerge as a parallel cultural capital. The global rise of BTS cracked the infrastructure. Solo careers like Jungkook's are expanding it. What makes this moment sharper is geographic spread. Please Don't Change reportedly reached #1 in more than 21 countries, including Spain, Belarus, Singapore, Romania, Poland, and Russia. It climbed to Hason 5 on US iTunes as well, holding space inside the very market, long considered pop's epicenter. This isn't a niche victory. It's multi-continent traction. And unlike earlier eras where Asian artists were often positioned as novelty exports, Jungkook's aesthetic in this era doesn't feel peripheral. The promotional imagery, denim jacket open, tattoos visible, standing before shelves of music tapes, mirrors Western pop's visual codes while maintaining a distinctly K-pop polish. He is not adapting to Western frameworks. He is redefining what global looks like. Music industry analysts often describe cultural power in waves. First comes visibility, then comes legitimacy. Finally comes normalization when success no longer feels surprising. If an Asian artist topping European iTunes once sparked shock headlines, in 2026 it feels almost inevitable. That inevitability is power. And yet, Western media still frames such milestones as breaking dominance. The phrasing reveals lingering assumptions that pop leadership belongs to the West by default. But does it anymore? Streaming data from the past 5 years shows explosive growth in Asian markets, not just as consumers, but as exporters of cultural products. K-pop groups headline US stadiums. Japanese and Korean artists chart on Billboard. Global collaborations are no longer exotic, they're strategic. Jungkook's collaboration with DJ Snake illustrates this perfectly. A French producer known for global electronic hits teaming up with a Korean vocalist whose solo album was crafted with Western and Korean songwriters alike. The result is not East meets West. It's borderless. Please Don't Change blending electronic production with Jungkook's polished vocal tone created a track that doesn't scream crossover. It sounds universal. And that universality is precisely what challenges Western pop's traditional monopoly. There's also timing to consider. 2026 marks a transitional moment for BTS collectively, with a March group comeback on the horizon. Jungkook's solo resurgence ahead of that comeback amplifies global attention. It demonstrates that individual members possess independent chart power, not merely derivative fame from group branding. In geopolitical terms, this is decentralization. The Western industry once functioned as the gatekeeper of global legitimacy. Now, chart victories can be driven by transnational fandom networks mobilizing digitally, independent of Western media validation. ARMY's coordinated purchasing, streaming, and promotional campaigns remain unmatched in scale, but reducing this achievement solely to fandom mobilization oversimplifies the picture. Sustained charting over multiple days, across diverse territories, indicates organic traction beyond core fandom. If this were purely fan-driven flash sales, the momentum would collapse quickly. Instead, the numbers climbed. The narrative shift becomes even more dramatic when considering longevity. A 2-year-old album track reclaiming #1 status disrupts the industry's obsession with constant novelty. It suggests catalog strength, a hallmark of enduring pop power traditionally associated with Western megastars. So when headlines ask whether Jungkook broke Western dominance, perhaps the better framing is this. Western dominance was already eroding. Jungkook's #1 positions are not an anomaly, they are a symptom of a broader recalibration in global music economics. Asia is no longer an emerging market. It is a defining market. K-pop is no longer an export experiment. It is a core pillar of global pop infrastructure. And Jungkook's achievement may symbolize the next stage where Asian soloists compete not as regional representatives, but as primary players. The symbolism of topping European iTunes carries historical resonance. Europe once consumed Asian pop primarily through niche communities. Now, consumption patterns are mainstream enough to propel an Asian artist to the top without Western cosign narratives framing it as unusual. That normalization is seismic. Of course, skeptics will argue that iTunes charts no longer hold the same industry weight in the streaming-dominated era, but symbolic victories still shape perception, and perception shapes investment. Labels monitor global traction. Festival bookers analyze cross-border demand. Brand partnerships follow visibility. Cultural capital translates into economic capital. And in that equation, Jungkook just gained leverage. Is this the definitive end of Western pop dominance? No single chart can declare that, but it does underscore that the hierarchy is no longer vertical. It's horizontal. Power is distributed. The center is multipolar. From Seoul to Paris to Los Angeles, pop stardom now circulates fluidly rather than radiating from a single epicenter. So perhaps the headline shouldn't ask whether Jungkook broke Western dominance. Perhaps it should ask whether Western dominance was ever as unshakable as it believed. Because in 2026, an Asian soloist topping both worldwide and European iTunes doesn't feel like disruption. It feels like evolution. And if this is only the prelude to BTS's full group comeback next month, the industry may be witnessing not just a